I'm a gritty guy. And this is not a conversation about me. It should be about you. Grit gets you out of bed and allows you to make your bed and go do your tasks and do it every single day. And if you can find an excuse, then maybe you're not gritty. I'm not going to tell you the things that you already know are stupid. You already know the things that are stupid. Do less of them. Do more of the stuff that are really good for you. If you have that level of self-confidence and that amount of grit, I think you can do almost anything.
Are we rolling?
I did.
Oh my God.
Rolling. This is like Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Are we rolling? We're rolling.
We're rolling,
Okay,
dude.
great. Yeah, it doesn't have to start with JB, but I love JB. We'll talk about that later.
That's funny. We started rolling with you talking about JB. Shout out to John Bryan.
Yeah, shout out.
Guys, welcome to the Owner to Owner podcast with Mano and Nick. Mano Nguyen and Nick Reca. Today's guest, we have I would call him a legend in this industry. He probably doesn't refer to himself that way, but he's a legend and mentor and an innovator in the condo space. Jeff Zimmerman, former AdWalls and now environmental graphics.
Don't say former. AdWalls is
Still
alive and well and wonderful.
My bad. Jeff,
Yeah.
welcome to the show.
Thank you. No, it's a great pleasure. Absolutely. It's your reputation well precedes you. So I'm honored to be in this hot seat.
We've been talking about this, right?
I know.
And thanks to Nick Parekh is happening. And Jeff, tell the space who you are and what you do.
Someone I had a very fun conversation with a guy yesterday because he's known me for a long time, but he said to me, Jeff, what do you do? And I answered the way I will answer to you the way I very often answer by saying I'm a farmer, because I am. I literally am a farmer. I live in Manoa. I have a beautiful plot the size of this room, and I grow food and I grow all sorts of stuff. Now, what do I do to make money? No, that's a completely different conversation, but I'm definitely a farmer. I'm a business owner.
You pickled some, you gave me some pickles.
I'm a kimchi maker.
Oh yeah.
I'm the only Jewish kimchi maker in town. Proudly.
I look forward to having
Actually, I give it all away. I make a ton of it and I literally give it all away. And it's really fun. I know what you want to hear from me, so I'm going to tell you.
I want to hear it all. I want to hear it all.
Okay,
Jeff.
great. I've lived in Honolulu for just about 40 years. I'm celebrating in January. I've been in the real estate business from the very start before I got to Hawaii. And I was involved in a lot of real estate companies and projects in the 80s and in the 90s. I worked for Jay Shidler and Jimmy Reynolds, and I was a real estate broker for many years. But I started a company called AdWalls with a business partner, and it was kind of almost a lark, but it has become a pretty nice sized company and has been, more importantly, for 30 straight years profitably.
Tell us about AdWalls.
Every straight year. We came up with the idea of creating a billboard company in Hawaii. And every person who goes like that and says, you can't do that in Hawaii, billboards are illegal. Billboards are very, very much legal and alive and well. And we defined billboards in the way that we wanted to, because all of our billboards are indoor. So yes, freeway billboards are absolutely illegal in Hawaii, but we thought that if we could create the same concept of a very larger than life imagery for marketing, for advertising, why don't we create that space? And we did in the beginning, and even to this day, we have very large ads inside parking garages.
Mm-hmm.
We thought...
That's when I first met you.
I bet we did. I bet. It was really interesting because the concept was...
Because we would go clubbing and go park at these parking structures, like at Restaurant Row or anywhere, and I'd see your ad saying, your logo here,
Yeah.
call, something for AdWalls.
One of our first spots was what used to be called the Waikiki Twins.
Mhm.
Remember the movie theater?
Mhm.
And that was a very happening spot. Actually, the first ad, so let me just figure it out, come back to that. So we thought that from a real estate, because this is all coming at from a real estate standpoint of creating value.
What year was this?
96.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're celebrating our 30th.
So back then, newspaper and TV ads were still popular.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Social media was just getting
There was no such thing.
nothing yet. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know that we had cell phones of any level at that point. But we thought that if we could go to real estate owners, developers, people who manage large buildings, shopping centers, office buildings, and ask them a very simple question. The question was, would you allow us to put ads inside your parking garage on those big blank walls, and I'll pay you a third of my revenue? I think 99 out of 100 of those people said, sure. They didn't know that they were helping us to build a portfolio of real estate.
I love this story. No, you created something out of nothing.
It literally from nothing.
That's literally Andy Dufresne.
From nothing.
You know, from Shawshank Redemption?
Yes, of
He
course.
conjured out of thin air.
Yeah.
You saw something sitting right in front of everybody and you monetized it.
Yeah. It's called hiding in plain sight.
My man.
Yeah.
That is so...
So I'm going back to what I said
that's so
5
innovative,
minutes ago.
you know?
My first deal,
Young entrepreneurs, listen to this man. This is good
the first
stuff.
ad we ever sold was to Planet Hollywood. Remember Planet
Yeah, I
Hollywood?
remember that. Yeah, yeah. It was like an investment by like Stallone and all them, right? Yeah,
Right,
Bruce Willis.
exactly. All those guys. It was amazing. So Planet Hollywood was in, what's the name of that building? I joke all the
In
time.
Waikiki, yeah.
It's where Long's is.
Yeah.
You know that used to be a Japanese department store? That was Mitsukoshi. Planet Hollywood.
Convention Center, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Well, that was right across the street from the Waikiki Gateway, because it's right the gate in the Waikiki.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it was a good spot.
So I walked in there and I said to the manager of Planet Hollywood, if I could give you a space right at the entrance of the parking garage of the movie theater, because back in the day, the movie theater was happening. And I showed him a picture. I said, could I put your name right there? He said, yeah. So we sold the first ad, and that ad went up and was probably 7 feet tall and 10 feet wide. And it was the big Planet Hollywood logo, and a big message that said, mention this ad and we'll take $10 off or something like that. That's how AdWalls started. And we grew organically, very aggressively. I guess the entrepreneurial magic of this was, if you look at AdWalls today, and we have about 450 billboard frames and spaces around in Honolulu.
Mhm.
Our investment was zero. It didn't cost a penny to create AdWalls, literally.
Yeah.
We had blank walls of other buildings, and we were producing these very large vinyl
Your
ads.
competitive advantage is you don't have to pay commercial real estate anywhere.
No.
That's genius.
Yeah. So our clients paid for everything, and it's a revenue model
Mhm.
because
And some of these are retainers, right? The annual.
it's annual contracts,
So
and it's just like advertising.
And if they wanted to,
monthly,
if they wanted to update the image, you just get somebody to go repaint it with a designer, something like that.
yeah, we're just printing vinyl. So it's very flexible, allows us to make everything custom and make it fit. And most of our clients traditionally, and now for another 30 years, the core of our business are clients advertising that's kind of like signs, because they don't want to take it down. So we sign annual contracts and they pay us monthly. And we have ads in Kahala Mall, Windward Mall, Ala Moana, Moanalua Shopping Center, Kaimuki Shopping Center, all over the place. And we have hundreds, we've had tens of thousands.
So chances are you're driving on the island, some of these signs are probably made by you.
Yeah.
Especially all over Waikiki.
we operated for 5 years. 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of the 5th year, we said, if it's going this well in Hawaii, what if we did this on the mainland? Because our business model was so ideal,
Mm-hmm.
because we literally could reach out to any property owner in Honolulu or Boston or Los Angeles or San Antonio, because we realized that every building that we operated from that was traditional was replicatable. So we raised some money and we started getting on the phone and we started signing agreements with owners of commercial real estate, primarily office building owners. Our biggest deal was with a company that doesn't even exist anymore. It used to be called Equity Office Properties. It was the largest real estate investment trust in America at that time. They had, I don't know, they had 500 huge office towers all over the country. And we made a deal with them.
So
And
you have strong relationship with all the commercial real estate guys then?
we do,
Yeah.
here and across the mainland. And again,
Well, wait, when you decided to expand outside of Hawaii, when was that? And then
it was in 2001.
and at what point were you like, we got to go take this outside of Hawaii?
Well, in
Take
2000,
take that risk.
in 2000, we said, if it's going this well in Hawaii, why don't we do it somewhere else? And we said, well, why don't we do it on the West Coast? And we said, why don't we do the whole country? Because now I can tell people the truth, because the truth is I was not interested in selling ads. I wanted to build a real estate asset. And we did. We did, because it took a solid year to really start this thing going.
Mm-hmm.
And I started flying all over the country, signing agreements with commercial real estate owners, institutional owners of real estate, shopping center owners. And we, at some point in mid 2001, we hit about 1,000 properties across the country.
Wow.
On paper. We weren't selling ads.
Inked.
We were putting into a gigantic book,
yeah,
leases and license agreements that gave us the right to operate ad walls in all of these buildings all over the country.
Oh, so when there's a deal, you do the deal. You put up and take down whatever is.
We weren't doing any advertising then. We were just creating the real estate position.
Right.
So we
to position yourself.
Yeah. So we made all these deals. I raised some money because we had to travel all over the place, and we gave ourselves a year to just completely go crazy. And
every big city, kind of
every country. This gray hair and these bags under the eyes was a lot of work that got us to that point. And I mean, I'll tell you, you don't even know this story, but I'm going to tell you the story just because it's fun.
Unlock the secrets.
Podcast.
Unlock the secrets, baby.
In June of 2001, we were invited to a conference in New York City. That conference was hosted by an organization called OAAA. It's the organization of OAAA. It was the outdoor advertising conference. And we thought that if we could show up in that conference after our gigantic book of leases, we might find a buyer for it. And I got on the plane to come to New York and meet with one of the largest billboard companies in the country. My flight was the night of September 10th, 2001.
Oh.
Guess what happened to me? Where
were you?
I was flying over Ohio, and we were about to start our final descent into New York. Actually, I'm sorry, we were in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
And it was probably 6 o'clock it was 9 o'clock in the morning. God knows where it was. I was flying, I was sleeping all night. And the pilot said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement. There's been drastic news from New York City, and we have been ordered by the FAA to turn around and land, and we'll get back to you very soon." I'm just waking up from a 8-hour flight from Honolulu, going like this, and I'm like, what did the pilot just say? We didn't know anything. We ultimately landed in Youngstown, Ohio.
They rerouted you.
Uh-huh. And I remember, actually, I did have a very, very simple cell phone in 2001. And when I turned on the phone, I had all of these texts and calls from my then wife, and she told me about September 11th because I would have been on the ground. And it was one of the most harrowing experiences of anyone's life. I have photos on my phone that me taking photos when I was flying into New York City the morning of September 13th. And I walked down as far as I could go, and I was part of September 11th. I can remember the smell of Ground Zero. So it's kind of like an amazing story, but it was also a way that you can break in your heart in half. Because I was literally going to New York to sell an asset, and September 11th happened, and our deal was like, see ya later. So this is the story of being entrepreneurial and being
These are the pain. These are one of the
having
pain
a
points.
good sense of humor, that because even when you go all the way to the dance, you're walking all the way down the hallway to marry or whatever you're going to do, it might not happen.
That was a runaway bride.
And all you got to do is shift and get your mind right and get yourself into a new position, because that deal that we wanted to do never happened ever. But it's all good. Life continues.
Well, I think everyone has a story as the one that got away.
Yes.
Or maybe there's a few that got away.
This was the 900-pound marlin. There was no doubt about it. And it just jumped off the hook.
I think a lot of people
But that's okay. I mean,
yeah, but we all have stories like that.
I'm telling you this because
what did it teach you?
Well, what taught me, thank you, Mano, what taught me is that you have to be that flexible and that malleable in everything that you're doing, and not be so serious about everything, because everything literally can be taken away from you. So I encourage people to meet the day with a smile and have a really great sense of humor for the second time, because I don't mind smiling and I don't mind laughing, because sometimes what you think is the worst might actually just be the best of the beginning of something else. Because in the story for AdWalls, this is, I mean, again, we weren't destroyed because of September 11th, but that deal definitely died, no doubt about it. And we got 10 times stronger as a result of it. So perspective is always going to be your best friend. Because
But that was a New York deal. You were all over the country.
we were selling a national asset.
Okay. So that messed up the New York deal.
It just happened in New York, and my timing could not have been worse.
Yeah.
But whatever. And again, in perspective,
how many leases did you sign in New York?
We had 1,000 across the country. We literally had a 3-ring binder this big with agreements that added 1,000 buildings across the country. Every shopping center, skyscrapers, just parking garages, because we did business with owners of commercial real estate that just operated parking garages.
Let me pause for a second, because you're not a regular mom and pop guy, because to have that vision to go that big, what gave you that big to think that far outside of Hawaii? That's way outside of Hawaii.
It's really weird.
Who gave you that idea?
It's so funny that
who were your mentor?
Funny that you would ask the question, Mano. Sadly, one of my dear, dear, dear friends died a few months ago. His name was Alan Beal. Alan Beal was the developer of Restaurant Row.
Mm.
Remember? Alan was one of my very early mentors, another guy whose sense of humor was phenomenal. So I went to his funeral celebration of life just a few months ago, 3 months ago, with Jay Shidler. And I had an opportunity to have a conversation with Jay Shidler 35 years after I worked for him. And Jay Shidler, for the people who don't know, because most people know that his name is on University of Hawaii, but Jay Shidler quietly then and to this day is one of the largest owners of commercial real estate in America. But he ain't telling you about that. And I'm sorry to tell people this on this.
Would he ever come on the pod, you think?
You can do that. That's up to you. But
Do you know him like that?
yeah.
Well,
The reason why I'm mentioning it,
I'm a Shidler alumni, that's why.
I know you are.
So
I do know that.
maybe he would come on
I
as
do know that.
alumni.
Maybe.
Shout out Jay.
He would be
You're
he
welcome.
would be one of the most unique people in this
I would
chair.
love to interview
No
Jay.
doubt about it.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm answering the question about how did I have that menschness to think that I could do something that big. I used to work for Jay Shidler, who owned real estate all over the country from our humble offices down on Bishop Street.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the answer to your question.
Sure.
It's like I think that if you can really dream of something that is seriously tangible, at least in your mind, it's like I could see how I could go from here to there, even if it's scalable at a level that you couldn't possibly imagine, that would include 5,000 miles, literally, in this conversation. But because we had 4 years of really good experience in ad walls in Honolulu, selling ads and operating a media company in parking garages and in shopping centers in Honolulu, which is like the number 80 DMA, which is like the big cities around the country. We're way at the bottom. We said, if it works this well in Honolulu, why wouldn't it work in San Francisco? And it did, and it could. So it was easy for us to say, if it really is doable, because we have enough experience and tangible results of doing something this small, or in a market this small, you might as well do it across the country. The people that are the wealthiest people in the world, the tech guys, all understand the concept of scaling. And I am not an expert of scaling, but the concept of just taking what you're doing and multiplying it by 500 or by 10,000 or by 1 billion, it's possible if you can really, really create that.
Why would you say you're not an expert at scaling when you have scaled?
Well, then or now?
Oh, well, I'm sure you've learned a lot since then. But for anybody starting out, right? Nick and I like to ask this question about how'd you get from like 0 to 1, right? 0 to 1 or 1 to 2 when you start scaling.
Right.
But I'm gonna back it up further. When you're at -1 and you decided to do this, where were you? Who are you working for?
That's a really good question. I think
before Jeff Zimmerman became him.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm a gritty guy. I'm a gritty guy. And this is not a conversation about me. It should be about you, because grit is that very tangible mana that gets you out of bed and allows you to make your bed and go do your tasks and do it every single day. And if you can find an excuse, then maybe you're not gritty, because you have to be that committed to something, whatever it is you're doing. Doesn't matter. You don't need education. You don't need a diploma. You just need to have the heart and the grit to believe what you're doing with huge passion and hopefully a little bit of results, so you can not just BS yourself. You can actually create something and sell it and market it and do it again and then do it again, do it again. And if you can do that on a low level, You can, if you have that level of self-confidence and that amount of grit, I think you can do almost anything. I'm trying to
How do you
encourage my kids to do this.
how do you find consistency when you're younger? 'Cause I think a lot of younger people, for me, I lack consistency because I could have good days
Yeah.
that I'm off, you know, doing other bad habits or whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't truly lock in to the point where you're a little bit obsessed. Because I think when because I think we're a lot alike.
We
You
are
know?
definitely of the same fabric. Um, I think you have to do all of those things that allows you to look yourself back 20 years ago and say, that was stupid. You need to do that. You really need to do that. But all you can do somehow, if you're young and you're watching this,
I'm laughing because I agree with you.
try today to just get rid of some of the stuff that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm too
And probably
I'm too
waste a little bit
too
of time.
aware of myself at this moment, and
Mm.
people are watching this. I'm not going to tell you the things that you already know are stupid. You already know the things that are stupid. Do less of them. Do more of the stuff that are really good for you,
Mm-hmm.
including your health and your being. More importantly, build the relationships that absolutely positively is required for you to walk down that path. There is not one person I know that is phenomenal, that's phenomenal by themselves. There's no way in the world. I- If you think I have any talent at all, you only know that because you are here with me. And I couldn't have done it without you, Mano. So the whole message really is surround yourself with people that you really love and really like, and you see good good attributes in them, and hold on to those friendships, because the friendships are so much more valuable than any of your stupid clothes that you're wasting your time on, your stupid car that you're spending way too much on
Try to flex with it.
the girls. And then I'll stop. Just build the relationships, females and male, that are really going to be that you can dream being your friends 20 and 40 years from now. My kids know, and they see it all the time, that I have best friends that have been best friends for 20, 30, 40 years. I got a few that are more than 50. I'm 64. Um, I think your relationships are the most valuable asset. You might not think that when you're 24, but I'm telling you, it's more important than any of the crap that you think you're trying to do. And remember, anyone that is trying to sell you something is trying to sell you something, whether that's cryptocurrency or an apartment or a car or a photo, whatever. It's like, we're here to sell. Don't buy everything. I'm going to try to say it 3 or 4 times. Don't waste your time and your money on stuff that you think has value. It's the relationships that are invaluable, that are everything, because those relationships allow you to get to the next level, and then to the next level, the next level. Because anything that you're going to ask me, I'm probably going to couple a person or a group of things or experiences. It's not about me. It's about how I did these things with people along the way. That's how you become successful.
And to hang around more people that are successful or can mentor you in the right direction.
And again, Mano, I'm glad you're having this conversation with me, because if we can influence one person, then
Sure.
we're doing it. The word success is one of the greatest and one of the worst words in my life, because if you don't think you're successful, then you're not looking at the word the correct way. Most people, and certainly here we are in the 21st century, everything on your phone tells you that success looks like this. Whatever you're looking at,
Yeah.
you already know what I'm talking about. That is not success. That anyone can do that stuff. Success is a feeling that drives you to the next task.
Mm.
I say it to my son. He might watch this and he's going to laugh in my face. I went to that um, presentation in December 7th, Pearl Harbor,
Mm.
probably 15 years ago, um, from that admiral in the Navy who told that amazing story, and everyone has seen it of 10,000 times. And I said it earlier in this conversation. He's the admiral that there's the very, very top of the Navy says always the same, which is get out of the bed and make your bed. Because that first task every single day,
That was a Navy SEAL. He gave a commencement speech at UT Austin.
I
love that speech.
one of those guys.
Yeah.
I saw the admiral.
Yeah, I love that
at
speech.
Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
He was as with a white hat. And
He was decorated. Yeah.
oh my God, you wanted to hear the
William McRaven.
yes,
Yeah.
that's the man.
Make your bed.
I'm telling you, this is real. If you can wake up at 6:30 in the morning and get out of bed and literally turn around and go like that and make your bed,
That's accomplishment number one.
accomplish number one.
Yeah.
At that point, you're successful.
Mm-hmm. It builds onto, yeah. Then you go have your workout and start building the day. Yeah, I agree.
I think we have to give people a lot more latitude
I want
to
to
allow to feel that they're successful.
I want to quickly tell the audience a little bit more about you because during COVID, we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
I've gone to you for signs.
Yeah.
Anytime you need a sign, Jeff will make you big or small, white or black. You want it on a placard, you want it on aluminum, just tell him, he'll do it for you. But anything signs, and he's helped me do tons of wayfinding signs down the lobby. Just a real professional product. But more than that, COVID affected all of us. Affected me mentally. As a CEO and a business owner, it gets lonely at the top,
Yeah.
COVID isolated us. And then I was injured. You know what I mean? I was so mentally in the dumps. And I
Yeah.
remember the lunch we had.
I do.
And you motivated me so much that it really helped me find some purpose again.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, COVID messed up everybody.
Yeah.
But I needed to hear that from another business owner that understands the pains.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So ever since then, I report back to you every time I see you, right?
Yeah.
And I always thank you for that.
No, it was my honor, absolutely. And COVID, I think is it because it was right around the corner. It was just a few years ago, and everyone has a story or 500 stories about COVID. I think the message about COVID was kind of like what I said 20 minutes ago. It's like we thought we were all going to die, literally. Okay, if we weren't going to die, we were going to do extreme things like what do they used to call it? Not shutting it down. What was it called?
Flatten the curve.
We were social distancing,
yeah.
but we were staying home.
Yeah.
And we weren't operating our world, and it was the weirdest,
Yeah.
maybe one of the stupidest times of our history. There's no doubt about it. But I think it was just one more of those reminders that when you think all is coming apart and we're all going to fail, it's really not. It's just a thing. And what I did in COVID was I thought very, very differently about a lot of things in my business. You mentioned about getting signs for me. I have another company. I have a company called Environmental Graphics Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Has nothing to do with ad walls. Actually, it's the polar opposite of ad walls. Actually, I built a Chinese wall between the two because we don't touch of each other. Because ad walls is all media. It's all short-term advertising. Environmental graphics creates designs and fabricates signs for hotels, condominiums, businesses. We have hundreds of clients, but they're permanent. So COVID, because Nick and I were talking about that before, um, COVID created a lot of opportunities because I think you're doing this podcast, Mono, because I think what you're attempting to, to share with people that everyone has different stories, and in your stories and in your life and in your career and in your business, you're probably going to find similar experiences that other people have.
Mhm.
So you can take their experience and go, oh, well, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, I know a lot of people will
COVID,
be inspired hearing from you alone. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Being a serial entrepreneur, having multiple streams of revenue. I mean, a lot of people can't even get off of zero, right? So
yeah.
yeah.
COVID, we're going to say a bunch of things in this conversation. I think for purposes of this podcast, what I realized and what I've kind of encouraged a bunch of people is everyone should have a side hustle. I think everyone should have two side hustles because everyone gets a job because you can have HMSA, right? That is absolutely critical. You need to have a job. And most people in the world wake up and they go to their job and they go to their company and they do their career, whatever. I am telling you that COVID is a perfect example that whatever you think is going to happen tomorrow, it might not tomorrow. You should have a side hustle.
Like a backup plan in case.
There is no doubt about it. And
Well,
none of that means you're cheating. You're not taking advantage of something. It's
Well,
that
look at the situation that the government's in right now with all the layoffs, right? There's a lot of these like maybe 50-50 want to be entrepreneurs. This might propel them into their entrepreneurism. You know what I mean?
right.
I mean, a lot of situations through the decades are going to present opportunities and misfortunes for people.
Right.
So,
And here we are in the 21st century with this level of tech. And we all know that whatever we think is tech is going to be so different in 10 years from now. No one even knows what quantum computing is, but the concept of it is so insane. But where we are right now, you have an opportunity to create a business online. I guarantee you. I have a really dear friend in my life who started an exotic plant company online because she loves it. And she sourced plants, and the way that she positioned it and markets and sells it, she sells it 5x. That is an amazing business. Any business that's 5x, are you kidding me? There's no way in the world that you, whoever you are, would say, well, I only have certain skills and I can't do very much. Well, yes, you can. Yes, you can. The concept of creating a side hustle, I think, is critical because it's likely that if you have your regular job, and there's nothing wrong with your regular job, when you get home at 5:45 and there's going to be a 5-hour period of time before you fall asleep on your couch, don't waste your time in front of the television. Yes, you can. But I'm telling you, there is an opportunity to have an entirely second career at that time. And I would highly encourage it. We started this conversation. We've tried to have this conversation multiple times about COVID because here we are 5 years hence.
mhm.
I think in my life and the people that I know, my best friends, uh, most people have had a dramatic increase in their careers and their revenues and their wealth as a result of COVID. And I think you have to look back and understand what that means. What that means to me is that, like I've said now for the fourth time, the concept that what you think is going to be your path and your job is going to take you to the next level and the next level, bro, I'm telling you, you might lose your job tomorrow. And COVID was just that stupid little thing in our history line that reminded you again that don't guarantee what you have as what your future is going to be. You have to take full advantage of your success, of where you want to take yourself and what you want from your life. And don't be afraid of creating that side hustle or that second side hustle, because I don't know that I'm a serial entrepreneur. I do a lot. I do an awful lot.
I
I've
would
created
definitely
a
call you a
lot.
serial entrepreneur.
Yeah. But you can create a business for yourself in a moment. I just said this 5 minutes ago. That woman that buys plants and sells them 5 times, you can do that too. It's like whatever in your life that you really, really love. It might be baseball cards. It might be a professional service that you're really good at. Maybe, there are a lot of great marketing people out there. There are a lot of, I'm the biggest sucker for America's Got Talent. You know what? I have a lot of people that have a lot of talent. And that's another way of taking yourself to the next level too. I'm not saying you're going to be rich from AGT person. It's that whatever you want to, whatever gets you excited, there is always going to be a path for you to do something in a business format that you can own 100%, because that is the secret sauce. The secret sauce is owning something that you can't get fired from.
Have you written a book?
What book?
Have you written a book?
Oh, have I written a book?
Yeah.
I could write a book or two.
No, I bet you. No, I just think you
I could.
have such a,
Maybe I will.
maybe you should. Maybe,
Yeah.
well,
Well, there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of stories, and I think more than anything, it's the experience that has the most amount of value.
well, you have so much experience, right? And I think that you can share it in a book.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next point is how important it is for you to have purpose in your life, who you mentoring, and why is that important?
I'm hesitating because I'm trying to pull the Japanese word and I can't believe I'm stuck on it. It's like ikigai. Help me, Nick.
I think
What's
that's
the word?
I think it's ikigai.
Ikigai.
Yeah.
The Japanese figured this out a long time ago about your purpose.
Yeah.
And you started the conversation. I did not.
Well, the reason I asked is because when I had my own struggles, a friend of mine told me to look into the blue zones around the world.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So
Yeah.
that was one of the
Ikigai.
Ikigai. Thank
You
you.
know, that's
That was so close.
a
Ikigai.
motivating force gives a person a sense of purpose or a reason for living.
Yeah, and Okinawa in Japan was one of the places that was considered a blue zone, and Costa Rica amongst
Yeah.
other places. So,
Right.
anyways,
No, I mean, Mano, it might be the most important question of the day, because, and I don't have a pre-written answer for this question, because you could probably see me struggling already, because how can I answer the question about your purpose with the least amount of words possible? I think that it's more of a feeling than it is a collection of words.
yeah, I don't think it needs to be defined by words either.
Yeah, I think that my purpose, just for this conversation, my purpose, um, and the reason why I get out of bed, I know this is sappy and it's me, but I'm just going to tell you, I live for two words: seeking beauty. I'm not going to be able to define that in a lot of words,
I can get behind that though. I know what you mean,
but I know the feeling.
because you can apply that in every situation.
I'm telling you this because you can apply this to almost any and everything. Thank you, Mano. So you set it up and I'm going to hit it out of the park. I seek beauty because I am a very visual person, number one. And when I'm sitting in this chair and I look out of the window up Ala Moana Boulevard, surrounded by 15 coconut trees and perfect clouds, there's something about that for me that is the fuel that keeps me moving, because we're so blessed.
I agree.
The way that we live in Hawaii, the way that you can always choose your path, gives you a kind of innumerable ways of living at a level that most people in our country don't even take advantage of it. It's so amazing how people around the world just don't have the freedom and the ability to be surrounded by all this goodness. You know where you came from. I mean, I have no words to say based on where you come from, and I know your story. I don't want to take too far out of our path, but
No, but I think you know how we always hashtag lucky to live Hawaii.
lucky you live Hawaii for sure.
I think there's a secret sauce here that
But I'm going to
not
come back.
everybody
I'm going
needs
to
to live
answer
here,
your
you know?
question
It's-
about my purpose.
yeah.
My purpose is creating physical things for people that some people want to call it art. Some people could want to call it signs, but I create things because when I give people things that we design and create for people, and they look at it physically in their hands and their eyes, and they go, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful." Not everyone on this watching this podcast know exactly what I'm talking about, but I have I have a daily practice, a few careers that I actually create physical things for people through design and then fabrication. And when I watch people's eyes when they see this thing, that's my purpose. That is my purpose. There's no doubt about it.
Mm.
There is something that is completely impossibly describable when you can give to people that's for things that they didn't even know that they wanted. It's the Steve Jobs
Yeah,
secret
well, you
sauce.
remember how MTV had Pimp My Ride?
Yes, of course. Yes.
And at the very end of the show, he had this like, you know, this souped up car. But it's kind of like when you're done, you give this product, whether you want frosted glass or whatever fancy stuff you want. It's a really nice product. I'm always pleased, you know, and that you must get that
Right.
satisfaction.
I mean, okay, if this conversation for Jeff Zimmerman, I am an artist. I'm very much an artist and on a lot of levels, and I create a lot of art for people. If this conversation is to support other people, I think that when you have an opportunity to create products or services for people, you want to call them clients for purpose of this conversation, and they are truly happy about what that is, and they see the value in what you created, whether it's physical or it's a service or something online, I think I'm positive that that's my purpose. I've done way too much. I've got plenty of great stuff in my life. I'll take more, but I'm happy to give more back. And I think that's something that happens more likely when you're 60, not when you're 30. But if you're asking me questions about my path and my career and what I can share back, is do the things that are really great for you. Because as you get better and better and better and better and better to great, then you have an opportunity to give it back to people or sell it
Yeah.
to people. I mean, I don't know, I'm not going to bullshit each other. I mean, I sell shit all day long, right? But what I sell and what I create for people is absolutely beautiful.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be beautiful. It's beautiful for me. You ask me, what's my purpose? My purpose is seeking beauty. And in most cases, it's giving back to people. And it's very tangible and gets me out of bed. And I'm very, very happy about that. But the message has always got to come back to the viewer, not you and me. The viewer has to get from this conversation, from this podcast, that if you can figure out Rubik's Cube, your own story in your mind, your creativity and your expertise, and you become your own master class of whatever it is, that's why you're getting out of bed.
Yeah.
And you can't do this in 10 years. You literally can't. But you can't do it without today.
You have a pretty large audience, especially with this platform. There might be a lot of managers watching or board members,
Property managers?
property managers. What advice can you can you give them? New managers coming into the industry,
Integrity.
or what pitfalls have you seen managers in the space entangle? What advice would you give them?
Okay. I'm starting this conversation with the word integrity. Integrity for me is that concept of doing everything that you can do honestly and at the highest level of yours, and do that every single day. Not everyone operates with integrity. I think, and to answer your second question, don't lie to people. Um, don't bullshit people. If you don't have an answer, then tell people you don't have an answer. There is absolutely nothing wrong with not knowing everything. Most people don't. But operating from integrity so you can do the very best you can possibly do at that moment for whatever the conversation is all about.
Did something happen? What happens when somebody doesn't operate? Could you share? You don't have to say who it is, but tell us the scenario. What might that be?
I think one of the greatest bits of our lives and one of the worst things of our life is ego. I think when you're young and you haven't figured yourself out yet, if you want to go faster, you can put on this mask, and it's called ego. Because whether you have any of this or not, you just want to tell or show people that you got stuff. You don't need it. You really don't. I think, okay, it's my second, it'll be my
You're
last
saying
reference
so
of
you think
America's
people
Got
so you
Talent.
think people flex when they don't need to?
Absolutely not. Let me just finish this thing about the America's Got Talent. The people who always win at America's Got Talent and American Idol are the most, ready? Authentic. They're authentic because they're not lying. They have no ego. They're not painting a picture that they're not. The people that win are the ones that are authentic. And the concept that you, as a professional, as a property manager, whoever you are, that you're supposed to know everything and that you're supposed to be the perfect puppet for your board upstairs, that's ridiculous.
Trying to be
Just
perfect.
be you.
Trying to be perfect.
Just be you.
Nobody's perfect.
Exactly. And I think that, I mean, Mano, I love you because you're wildly authentic.
Thank you.
Yes, you are.
I
You
think that's
absolutely,
fine.
yeah. And I'm attracted to the people that are most authentic. The people that I am definitely turned off on are the ones that try to prove that they are higher or smarter or better or whatever. It's like, it's that whole concept of trying is so unattractive. Stop trying
Stop trying.
so much. Just be you.
It's great advice.
You know, it's funny. I just texted my daughter who's graduating from college, and she's about to start her career in New York City. And what I'm saying to you right now is what I said to my daughter, which is just be you. I mean, everyone loves my daughter just the way she shows up, but she's going to get she's getting a real professional job in New York City. What is her experience? Zero. It doesn't matter. Her heart is so bright. It's so colorful and so honest and so innocent and so wonderful. And there's just nothing wrong with that.
But you probably allowed her to grow up not having to live inside a box.
Yeah.
Right? You're kind of giving her a space to choose her path.
Yeah. Well, she's surrounded by a bunch of people that are very entrepreneurial, mom and dad, and lots of uncles and aunts. And yeah, I think you have to be in front of a lot of people who who are not afraid
Oh.
to be themselves, to do something big.
I was going to bring this back to the conversation you're talking with Jay Shidler, because I think you can put me, you, or Nick in a space next to brilliant minds like that, and some shit's going to happen. Just as long as you're next to them and they show you what's possible, right? Oh, wait, you went from 1 to 2? Yeah, but he went from 20 to 40. Hold on a second. What? If you're in the same room with these people, right? What happens if you were interning for Jay Johnson instead of Jay Shidler? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a different experience. So
Yeah.
I think it matters who you decide to go get mentorship from and who you surround yourself from. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. But again, we're going to go back to that very difficult word to describe, which is success. You know, it's like, I think everyone has a level of success already. I think you should be attracted to the people who are working hard, and you can see them trying to do more than most people, and they are successful. But yeah, I mean, Mano, you and I are Michael Jackson. You know, we're lovers, not haters, right? It's so easy to point. It's so easy to point at the other side of the equation and all the haters. It's a stupid conversation. Don't waste your time about talking about people. Talk about ideas. That's where the brilliance comes from, and that's where your self-confidence comes from, because if you can talk about ideas, either your own ideas,
Ideas are solutions. Yeah.
the solutions,
Instead of people. Yeah.
right? I
get
mean,
you.
just drive down the street and talk about, like, how did that happen? Like, how did they do that? Where did they do that? That is that exercise of your muscle to allow yourself to ask really hard questions and seek out the answers.
You know the advice I gave to my 12-year-old daughter. It was a couple days ago. Because if you pay attention when your kids are around you, other uncles and aunties are always like, "Oh, what grade are you in?
Yeah.
Play sports," and they sit there and answer. I say, "Oh, I'm 12. I play baseball," and you know. And I asked my daughter, "How many times do you get asked that by adults?" She's like, "All the time." Like, do me a favor. Ask them back.
Right.
How old are you? What do you do?
Right.
Are you in school? Why not? And I guarantee you, if every kid ask that question back to the adults, they probably have more career options. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated. You know what I mean?
My son is named Asher.
Yeah.
And I taught him probably when he was 6 or 7 years old, maybe. I said, do me a big favor. Whenever you meet someone, just put your hand right up there and say, "I'm Asher."
It teaches them social skills.
You know,
it teaches them how to talk to adults.
You
too.
can absolutely see how people react to that. I'm such a broken record about a lot of stuff. I'm a monster believer, and I'm very idealistic.
Being socially adept.
I have a great idea, and I don't know why everyone wouldn't agree. I think everyone should walk around with a name tag. If everyone had their name right there, do you realize how much kinder our world would be, and how more interesting it would be? Because when I'm walking down the street, I'd go, "Hey, Mano." The concept of looking away from each other, that is where all the failure is.
Yo, I just got an idea. You ready for this?
Yeah.
You know Pokemon Go?
I'm aware of it.
Okay. Imagine that same this GPS technology, right? Now you can walk down the street. You don't know who they are, but they sign up to this invisible app.
Right. There's your name tag.
Let's see, who's this guy next to me? Are they signed up? Oh, that's Jeff Zimmerman, the owner of the. Look, that would be really interesting.
Well, what's really already happening is these AR glasses.
Yeah.
Where you're walking around,
Meta,
camera in your glasses.
Yeah.
And you can face recognize everyone that walks by you on the street, and then do a Google search for them with an image search, and now all of a sudden you're walking by somebody.
Is that the Zuckerberg Meta glasses?
Well, and the reason why I started this conversation,
let's talk about technology. I love this shit, man.
It's because you were talking about your 12-year-old daughter, because if your daughter was in Ala Moana, you're with all of her friends and whatever all together, and someone that kind of recognizes his daughter or your daughter walks down. What's your daughter's name?
Amara.
Tomorrow?
Amara.
Amara.
Yeah, Amara.
If that person, he knows him from school, whatever, and he goes, "Hey, Amara," I just feel like that connection, that human connection, I'm such a sucker again, through the name tag, would start conversations that would be so valuable, because the reverse is the no conversation, the no meeting,
Yeah.
the don't look at each other.
I have such a disdain, and man, young people, there's so much to learn from them, but I get so mad when they lack social skills, and when they're in a restaurant, they're all just looking down. I'm like, man, that's the generation now, right? It's you have to cultivate
Because I'm going to tell you,
how to like interact.
I know a lot of property managers watch this, and I'm out there in the world every single day, and I meet people every single day, and I'm very well aware how many people do not say, "Hi, I'm Lisa."
It's a lost art, right? Kind of.
You know what? If you can remember one thing from this whole podcast, start saying, "Hey, I'm Lisa." I think that starts everything.
We're probably lacking.
The no, the word no is horrible. It's the stupidest word in the English language, because if you start with the no, or it becomes or it goes with silent, or there's no hello, no hi, then we're not growing.
No aloha.
No aloha.
No aloha.
Exactly. So
aloha.
Here we go. I mean, we're gonna try to keep coming back and keep coming back. It's like, how do you become successful? How about going, "Hi, I'm Lisa."
Hey, Lisa.
That's how you become successful, even if you're 24 and you have no real marketable skills that you think at the moment. But if you can meet someone where you are, and you reach out and you say, "Hi, how are you?" That you are so successful.
Okay, I think that advice right there is evergreen.
I know, no doubt.
Because before
Tell you, I told my that
because
my kids when they were
before
kids.
technology on social media,
Yeah.
you did the same shit when you did ad walls.
Yeah.
That's just basic human interaction there. So
Yeah.
Are we gonna get you to start coming to the Murmur lunches? Get you in front of some of the more managers? Do you want to be in front of more?
Sure. I mean, I
I
know a lot of those people already.
I feel that we could go on another 3 hours.
Yeah.
But maybe that would be on the next pod.
Yeah.
Much
to talk about.
You guys, if you guys are joining the channel, welcome to the O2O podcast, Owner to Owner podcast with me and Nick Pareca. We have our guest Jeff Zimmerman today from AdWalls and Environmental Graphics. This is an entrepreneurial channel. We're lifting up, highlighting a lot of local entrepreneurs, and we just want to thank Jeff for coming on the show today.
Yeah, we'll do this again.
Any last words you want to send?
Yeah, there'll be like, next time I come to Austin here, I'm at Joe Rogan's. It's like, I'll come back again. We'll do this. No doubt about it.
Yeah. That'd be really good.
No, I'm not going to come up with a final. We'll do this again, but say hello to people. I think that's the hello and bye.
Say hello to them and be kind.
Yeah.
And a quick shout out to this whole community. We have a lot of interested sponsors supporting us. Make a quick announcement with Mano Nguyen Grill. They're our first food restaurant sponsor. So we'll interview Kaipo Sheen in the upcoming videos too. So thanks again for joining us.
Okay. Aloha. Have a great day, my man.
And remember
Mano.
to know aloha. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.